Matthew Johnson here. It's the first stage of Day 2 STPR Rally 2012. This is a really historic spot across the bridge. It's a stage called Asaph that gets used every year. It's probably been part of the rally at least for 20 years, or at least as far as I've been keeping up with it. It's a really tricky section. Cars coming into this are dealing with heavily cambered and crowned roads, and they've got to turn in, make it past that stop sign, which honestly you really want to get the car turned in around on top of that stop sign and zoom through here, avoid hitting this barrier here I'm standing beside, get across this bridge, and then the road opens up and it's a lot of fun as you exit this scene here. So a little bit of the story from yesterday. David Higgins had trouble with the front differential in his car, was able to kind of repair it to keep some oil in the gearbox and finish the day, but he is pretty far off the leaders. He's 3 minutes back or so. Right now our overall event leader is Leo. Leo is 30 seconds ahead of Antoine Lestage. Antoine was battling overheating issues yesterday. They changed a motor last night. There was a bit of confusion at the fairgrounds at the Super Special last night, and Natalie might have checked in a little bit early. We try to say that as gingerly as possible because co-drivers have a lot to juggle. Sounds like there was a bit of a mix-up and they ended up with a minute penalty. So that's put them in second place coming into Day 2. Then 30 seconds back from Antoine, we have Raman Alagaman, Chrissy Beavis in leading Super Production and third overall currently. Not far off their heels are Lachlan O'Sullivan and Scott Putnam in a Mitsubishi Evolution, only 10 seconds back of Ramana. And in fact, talking to Lachlan, these stages today are going to favor his engine setup a little more than yesterday. He feels like he's got plenty of horsepower, but not much torque. And in the tight, twisty stages of the waste management stages yesterday, you really needed that torque to crank through and not have to change gears so much. So I think today's stages are going to favor Lachlan's car a little bit more. However, he's been in the seat more and he's fresher, we could say, than Ramana. It's going to be a really good battle in Super Production today. Not far behind that battle for the lead of SP is Travis and Terry Hansen, also with an overheating engine that's been dropping cylinders randomly and caused them a bit of a delay. They, I believe, are 30 seconds off of the lead fight for Super Production. Not far right behind the top Super Production cars are Adam Yeoman. He wants to be putting himself in front of those Super Production cars and rejoining the overall battle today. Then in two-wheel drive, ACP and Jeremy Wimpy had a pretty catastrophic failure yesterday on the waste management stage where suspension failed, resulting in, it looked like both rear wheels departing company with the car. So it does not look like we'll see them today. That gave Will Orders a chance to open up a gap and him to have a really good fight with Chris Duplessis. Chris Duplessis was in a completely untested R2 that he just finished building in time to throw on the trailer and get it down here to the event. Here's the car, I'm getting out of the way. Should be Antoine Lestage, Natalie Richard, in a big hurry. And that's true. So pretty. I gotta tell you, as a driver, that's fantastic. I'm sure you can see in the shot there, his front bumper was a foot or less away from the stop sign. That's about as fast as you're gonna get away with through here. Really clean, shifting up through the gears there, using the power where it is in the rev range there. That was fantastic. Looks super clean. Looks like he's really comfortable with the car today. Hopefully their engine change is gonna work out for him and he gets to keep pushing all day. So as we might have mentioned before, the first couple of cars have a 2-minute gap. It's basically a result of your speed factor. So there'll be 2 minutes between Antoine and when Leo comes through, another 2 minutes back for Ramana, and then they've put David Higgins next on the road just because of the speed he'll be carrying through the stages. David Higgins actually is probably around 10th to 12th place overall right now, like I said, with 3 minutes to make up to rejoin the fight in the front of the field. So next through we're going to see Leo. Leo just kept it clean yesterday. He said he was trying a new driving style, which I believe means he was going a little bit slower and less attack in some places and trying to just keep things really tidy. And that was a smart move for the tricky stages of waste management yesterday. I liked that. We'll talk about Raman and his previous experience with this stop sign a little bit later. We'll see if he might repeat it here today. But it would not be out of the question to see somebody want to just choose to do some battle with a steel post to that stop sign. And those things are far stronger than they look, actually. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move. I think we'll see Leo momentarily. So it's fantastic. We got tons of local fans out, all littered in the woods, around the corner, out of our sight. They come here every year. Here we go, Leo's up.
No one hit the sign last year.
Nobody did?
No, I stood right there.
All right, so can you get a shot of Leo's tire tracks there? See how wide he was? He's just fighting the camber. I mean, Leo's not a green driver or anything, but he's never done this rally before. He might not know quite how tricky this intersection is. You could carry far more speed into this than you can get away with using. And you can see he got up almost out of the camber that helps him there. His attack level is a little higher than Antoine's, and we could see he was a little rougher on the way in, but it's fine. He got it done. He didn't hit anything, so off he goes. He'll have a great time on the rest of Asaph. The camber of the stages in Oregon used to be a big conversation. If you were on the wrong place in the camber, you got sucked right off the road. The ditches are much shallower here in Pennsylvania, and then you've got banks you can kind of rub up against sometimes. So once in a while you get away with getting outside the camber on the hanging in the back of the car, kind of wide on the road, and it's not such a big penalty. There are definitely trees that seem to be growing even closer and closer into the road in certain stages on this rally. The road feels more and more narrow for a lot of drivers every season. Next up, Ramana Lagaman, Chrissy Beavis. In 2003, when Ramana was driving a factory Subaru, he leveled that stop sign, like popped it all the way over. It might have been built of wood at the time, and maybe this is the one that replaced it. We'll see in a minute if he wants to give it any more trouble this year. We expect to see them up momentarily. I'm gonna go ahead and step out of the shot. You could definitely hear the fans. They weren't so talkative just 5 minutes ago. Now that a couple cars have come through, the volume of conversations over there is magnified quite a bit. Here's a Ramana and Chrissy.
Stand on the inside of that corner?
No, I don't think. No, it's good with us.
If I get hit.
Yeah, no, we'd rather not that. But you've been around long enough, you know where you can be the safe. And they're good shots from there. So Ramana and Chrissy, we saw not giving the stop sign any kind of hard time today. That's the thing though, if you're a little bit too shy from really hugging that stop sign, car up. This is David Higgins. You can hear by the turbo chirp. Tidy, super tidy. Even though, it's so funny that it's hard to really show you the detail of comparison of the drivers. David was faster into the corner, slower right there in one moment while the car was getting pointed, and then faster out of here. The cars that are too fast mid-corner there are the ones that come over the hump and really are going to struggle and be off the throttle here where they need to be accelerating out of the corner. David looks like he's on a charge. Car definitely looks healthy. He's going to be charging all day trying to make up this 3 minutes that he's behind everyone. So now we're to getting a car every minute. Next through is going to be Lachlan O'Sullivan, the Mitsubishi. He's got a lot of practice on this stage and in that car setup. I think we'll see him doing quite well through here. Lachlan O'Sullivan's the second super production car to see come through. He's only 10 seconds behind Ramana Lagaman for super production. This is going to be a great battle. Wow. If there's any one way to sum that up, is Ramana better stay on his toes. Lachlan looked great through here. And I don't know if we can get the shot of that. That closest tire mark to the bottom of the stop sign was Lachlan's. He was the one most hugging the stop sign, and it really paid off because he got the car turned sooner, stayed on the inside of the camber, and was able to be on the throttle sooner as well. That was great. In fact, the two Mitsubishis look the cleanest through here. And that could just have to do with vehicle dynamics and setup. The Subaru and Mitsubishi are quite different vehicles to drive, each that shine at a different time of their own. All right, next through is going to be Travis Hansen. We might learn a lot about the super production battle right here if we hear Travis's engine doing well or suffering and misfiring a lot. Remember, we hear some pops and bangs from the anti-lag system, but as he's accelerating away from here, hopefully his car sounds healthy. Yep. The Hansens look good. Car sounds good. He's on it. He's going for it. He was really clean through here. He wasn't too fast into the corner. They're all on even footing here for a good battle. They're going to run 3 stages. This is Asaph. Then they'll go run Painter and maybe Randall or something like that. I should probably figure that out. And then we'll be going to service. The next place we see the cars is going to be in Germania after we leave here. This is Stage 6, STPR 2012. We're 5 miles into Asaph, so if anybody's going to have mechanical issues or the engine running poorly or whatever, it likely will develop by the time they get here, and we'll know it. You can hear the fans yelling, "Car, I'm going to get out of the way." Adam Yeoman. We should find out if Adam Yeoman's running a front sway bar on that car, because it looked to me like he is running a front sway bar. You know, we hear a lot about sway bars. Like you go pick up a parts book or a car magazine, here's this huge front sway bar for your car. And for rally, that isolates tires' movements. As the ground is very dynamic and goes up and down on rally stages, we want the tires to be able to maintain grip with the surface as good as they can. With the sway bar, as we just saw with Adam's car, if we could slow that down, you'll see the inside tire actually picks up off the ground as the outside tire is forced up. So that's the sway bar working against him there for a moment. I take the front sway bar right off all of my rally cars. There's Will. Yeah. Woo. He's trying to put the power down. I'll tell you, Will Orders is the guy who might need to travel with 2 spares in the trunk to swap them out between stages. I looked at the back of his car yesterday and his rear tires were noticeably more shagged than the front. It's going to be really interesting. This is a challenging rally. It's similar to some of the stages they've seen in Australia before, so he should be able to stay on pace and be on speed here against folks that have done this rally multiple times. He tells me he runs his car, his S13 Sylvia, he tells me he runs it at 7 PSI boost. He can crank that up to, what, I don't know, 12 pounds, 14 pounds? These are reasonable numbers, right, for a rally car? No, he can crank it up to 28 pounds of boost if he needs to. 2-wheel drive cars don't run a restrictor on the intake to the turbo. They can get as much air as they want. So if he needed to, and there was any benefit to it, he could turn that thing into a 600 horsepower monster at the service area. Ouch. David Sterricks, Karen Jankowski. Keeping it clean there on the entrance. That's a smart tactic for a stage and a situation or a corner he doesn't have any practice driving through at speed in the past.
He took off faster than anybody else.
Yeah, well, he got the speed. That's the funny thing about racing. It's like it's hard to tell where to go slow. And that's the difference in the really experienced drivers. That they'll be going slower than anyone else in some parts of the corner and faster than the rest in other parts of the corner. So, the rain is another story. Rain percentage chance today is 15 to 20% tops. We still have a lot of fairly dark cloud cover, so we could see a rainstorm. It's just unlikely as far as the Weather Channel tells us. We got a car up. Should be Vaio de Basu. Yep. Definitely got unlucky with the camber there. You can get that baby turned around and get going. Wild man. Sometimes being the wild man is good, other times it gets expensive. He looked like he's really going for it on the exit there. Like I said, it is a tricky corner. It might be paying off for him everywhere else on the stage. Tough corner here to make sure you get slowed down enough for it. Okay. Do you like our position?
Yeah.
Just stay here? All right, you're okay. We briefly considered moving spots halfway through here.
You still can, we'll give it another couple.
All right, Evan Klein's next. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 6th in SP right now, Evan Klein, but he's not that far out of the battle for like 3rd through 5th in super production. Evan in his XD Clutches Subaru on the way in. Told me he was feeling a little under the weather this morning. Nice. Good conservative run through there for Evan. That's what he needs. Evan badly wants to finish this event after his parts destroying off on Ketchum stage at Oregon. Okay, after Evan, who are we going to see? We're going to see Rick Song. I am standing behind that tree for Rick Song to come through. Remember yesterday, he's the only guy I was pretty sure that was going to throw rocks all over me, and he won the dust battle for sure. Here we go, Rick Song. Driving last year's winning, nope, I'm wrong. That's a Chris Duplessis. That means Rick is either off or broken. Not sure why that would be. And in fact, we didn't have a cumulative time for Rick. So Rick Song drives the yellow and chrome colored Mitsubishi Evolution that Antoine Lestage won the championship with in 2010. Behind Rick was going to be Chris Duplessis, and he's obviously come on by. I could see through the front wheel and see the front brake disc glowing a bit on Chris's car. Certainly to go fast in a front wheel drive, two-wheel drive car, a lot of left foot braking is often helpful, and that'll create quite a bit of heat in the front discs. We definitely could see that. Other years we have hay bales lining this corner here on this guardrail. We saw Ken Block come through here being a wild man one year and landed on the hay bales and kind of got stuck and had to get pushed off of them. It's John Kemp. That man, John Kemp, knows this corner really well. When I first came here in 1996, he was one of the event favorites in an Audi 4000 Turbo Quattro, a red one. It was around for a long time, and he was always a favorite to be on the podium. He's been concentrating on his veterinarian business lately, so maybe he'll be rallying some more next year. He's had this Evolution for about 5 years or so. Okay, after John, Chris Greenhouse in the SRT4. You want to talk about shredded tires? Some of the most shredded tires I've seen on a car were off of this car coming next, back when Doug Shepard was driving it a few years ago. This thing has 4 different boost settings for how much power it's going to make. I'm pretty sure it's down on 1 or 2 still while Chris gets used to it. But this thing is a tire shredder. Another car you might carry 2 spares just to be able to put fresh ones on in between stages. Now a spare rally tire and wheel together weigh about 50 pounds. It's quite heavy, so it's a lot of extra weight to carry. Yep, Chris Greenhouse. Hear that thing hit boost and get out of town. Wow, that's a fast car. I think he left rubber marks on the bridge on the way off the bridge over there. So that's a really fast 2-wheel drive car. Like I said, as soon as he learns that car, it might be a little heavy, but it's got so much power it can make up for it. And especially on these stages today where you can really put down some horsepower, I expect to see him get himself in the battle for 2-wheel drive, even though he wasn't quite in the fight for the front yesterday on the waste management stages.
I'm paying for this car, and I'm going to go look for that spot there.
Okay, what spot?
Where Warwick was.
Okay. All right. I'm going to drive the camera here for a minute. I see we've got a fair bit of river noise in the background. This stream running behind us is really nice. Yep, that's the stop sign right there. This is fun. I might just turn into a cameraman. See how well I do in a second. You don't quite, actually what I'm seeing here is you can't get a view of how much camber there is in the road and how high the center of the road is. Like here, that part of the road right there is much higher than this part here. There's a big slant there that the camera just doesn't give you enough definition to be able to see that. Again, and then about here in the road, it falls off down quite steeply there. I'd love to tell you who's next if I could get my... Oh, it's Dylan Manway. I almost forgot to pan there. Dylan was on the move. That looked good. He was using those front tires to get the front of the car turned as he was coming into the corner. But letting the front tires do the job they're good at doing is often helpful. You got to know when it's better to be sliding the car with the back or getting the car turned and letting the front tires do some work for you. Okay, so that was Dylan. Mr. Vanway and Jake Blattner screaming by in an R2. It's their first weekend in an R2, where they usually drive the Ford EcoBoost Fiesta with a fair bit more power. I gotta say, he's probably learning that it's kind of fun to have a little bit less power and you get to keep the hammer down for longer. All right, Gary Gill's gonna be next in a super production car that's new to him. It's that nice pearl colored one built by Graham Wilcox out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. All right. Keeping it clean, zooming on through there. What do we think of that other spot? Okay, your call if you want to go up there. We're at car number 19. We probably have 6 or 7 cars to stay through and should move.
Yeah. We've got about 10 minutes left.
That sounds good. We'll stay through Mason Moyle and then we're going to have to roll. Good deal. We talked to Mason this morning. Such a nice guy. You know, we know he's a young guy, but he's got quite a bit of experience. He's got more experience than you might guess at rallies. He's been driving, he's on his 2nd car. Mason chose not to spend much time in 2-wheel drive, went right into an open class car, and then they built him a current model spec Impreza STI, WRX STI, I guess we call it, for super production. Samuel Laubert, that's Samuel. Making his presence known. He came in here and scared the hell out of the guardrail, and then he fired off a few shots on his way across the bridge. Proper Old West style. I gotta say, if it wasn't quite this cold, I'd want to go dip my feet in that stream. It's just absolutely beautiful out here. Rolling rocks and streams and campers and campfires. I gotta block out some time on my schedule to do some more of this. Hanging out in the woods. Okay, Ross and Scott Allen are through next. ACP, if he was fixed, would be after them, but we're not going to see him. Oh good, we'll see Justin Pritchard. He's right behind John Kramer, so it looks like Justin Pritchard is currently 2nd in the open lights category, and then with Mark Patowski right behind them, we're going to have a great fight in the open lights category. All right, Ross Allen with his brother Scott in the co-driver's seat. If you hear the 2 cars side by side, go ahead and we're gonna move here. If you hear the 2 cars, the 2 Aussie cars side by side, you can hear that their engine setups are a little bit different. Ross Allen's setup uses more boost than Will's. Oh nice, we get a little bit better entrance shot here. Is your white balance on auto?
Yep. Well,
that means I'll learn something about cameras, right? If I ask something like that?
Yeah.
All right. That's what I thought.
I don't know if you're learning from the right person.
I should pick who my mentors are, huh? Okay, so next we would be seeing ACP and Jeremy Wimpy. Jeremy, we know, is off spectating with his twin brother Josh Wimpy right now. So we're not going to see them come through. Instead, we should see John Kramer in the currently class-leading open lights category, Subaru. Oh, that was a nice save. I got to tell you, what we just saw there is somebody that has a bit of experience. It's really hard in that moment. He's got his front tires turned sharp. It's not working. The car is not turned in for him, and he knows he's over speed, so he has to touch the brakes. This is not a great situation. The tires weren't going to turn the car anyway, and then you stop them from rolling. There's no way the car is going to turn, but it did bleed off enough speed for him to look where he wanted to go. And as soon as he looked where he wanted to go, he let go of the brake, tires started rolling, and he went into the corner. Justin Pritchard, second place open lights. Ooh, worked out much better for him. Justin Pritchard has a lot of open wheel and tarmac pavement experience. In fact, I think he just won his class at the SCCA runoffs in Kansas earlier this year. So Justin Pritchard, great competitor. I've been friends with him for a long time. And he is doing a great job of hucking that open light Subaru around. Maybe that's what I'm going to get in. That's a nice cheap car to drive. I'm going to find an open lights car, rent it from somebody for an event. That would be a hoot. Alrighty then. The third place person in the open lights class, Mark Patowski with Robert Majetsky, is up next. Their car, I believe, is red and black. It's a 2000 Impreza 2.5. Justin Pritchard was in a 2001, while John Kramer, leading the class, was in a 93 Impreza. Yep. Certainly no lack of commitment there on the part of Mark Patowski. Mychek Precipits should be through next. He hasn't driven a rally in a while, with Kerry Wilburn in the, we call it the hot seat over there. You get hot pants sitting in the hot seat over there. I don't know why it's called the hot seat, because you're like, you know, a lot of pressure is on you, or, you know, for me, the reason it was a hot seat is that the exhaust went very near the floorboard there, and the co-driver's left foot would get burned. Now, Jeremy Wimpy, if it was up to him, he would co-drive in Teva sandals. That's what he just likes to live his life in. So he burned his little toe on the tunnel a couple times in my car. Now we're a little more strict on the safety rules, and he's got to wear actual shoes in the race car. Mychek Precipits, that's him, and looking good. So next we got Michelle Laframboise and Dean Hopkins, and then Mason Moyle will be by, and then we're going to change positions and head to the service area. Yeah, I see it. What we're seeing here is we're going to get stuck in this stage. Having a ton of spectators is a really good thing, but us being stuck in the stage and not able to get out of here and get some footage is not such a good thing. So we're going to be packing up and hitting the road here pretty quick. Here we go, Michelle Laframboise in a Mitsubishi Evo. She's a Canadian driver. There she is. A little bit of damage to the right side of her car from yesterday. Cool. She's scooting along just fine. And that car looks like it has nice response. Goes pretty quick. That felt like a little bit more than a minute gap, so we might see Mason Moyle through here in less than a minute. Do we have anything laying over there to get? We didn't leave anything over there. We're ready to, okay. I do have a media vest with me. For anybody watching this that enforces those rules, I have my own media vest, I promise. All right, Mason Moyle's up. He's around 6th place in super production right now. Not out of touch, but he didn't have the best start of the event yesterday. Nice. That was nice and smooth. So, this is Matthew Johnson. I'm signing off from Asaph. It's Special Stage 6 at STPR 2012. We'll see you in a few minutes in service.